Okay, so in the chat is our handout, which you don't necessarily need it to participate, but it's there. So if you want to download it so that later on you can look at it and it will be a refresher of what we've talked about. But I'll be doing some screen sharing for the actual activity that we'll be doing, because we are going to have you try sight reading. So hopefully people can find the PDF now in the chat. Let me make sure that we're on here, and then I think we'll be ready to get started here shortly. Now that we're all settled. Well, Carol, do you think we should go ahead and start?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm just printing out the PDF for a second. It's just about done. Thank you.
Okay. Well, like I said, you don't need to refer to the PDF while we're doing this, but yeah, definitely feel free to have it keep downloading. So welcome to Successful Sight Reading with Stars. We're excited to present this because I know sight reading can feel like a challenge, and we hope to make it feel less of a challenge and give you some tips and tricks to help you in your sight reading journey to make you feel more comfortable. So I am Lori. Carol is in this with me, and so we'll be kind of tag teaming a little bit with this. We're obviously part of the committee, the Clarinet Enthusiast Committee, and we always love putting on this event every year. So thank you for joining us. Okay, so the PDF should have, yeah, it should have uploaded into the chat. It's called Stars Sight Reading Worksheet.
We can screen share all of
And
that at the
we
end.
can screen share, and at the end, I will put up our email addresses if you just want to email us, or you can email ICA. Oh, if you join letter, okay. Let me redo the PDF one more time.
So, Lori, after you do that, why don't you screen share the biggest sight reading challenge slide so everybody can think about that?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. So
in the wrong room.
What I want to know is, what is your, oops, I picked the wrong one. What is your biggest sight reading challenge?
Sorry, I'm in the wrong room.
Okay. There should be a way to exit, but I don't know offhand what button.
Lower left,
press.
lower right corner, blue button says leave room.
Correct.
Lower right, blue button.
I've not got that. I'm on a tablet.
Oh, sorry.
I can try removing it.
Excuse me, it doesn't. I think we get access to the recording for all the rooms afterwards, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's fine. I'll stay where I am, and I'll pick up the other one. I was going to pick up yours later anyway.
Okay.
So the recording, so I'll do it the other way around. It's fine, don't worry.
Okay. So my our first question to all of you is, what's your biggest sight reading challenge? And these are some things that you might come across as you're sight reading. Feel free to put in the chat, or if you'd like to unmute for a moment, we can take a couple people.
We've got 37 people in this room, so we're going to compile actually some hatch marks for everyone so that at the end of the session, we'll see what the breakdown is of the group.
Yeah, so, but I am seeing key signatures, sharp key signatures, rhythm, tempo changes. Yes, rhythm is a big one.
And if you've typed your response into the chat, get your clarinet ready, because very shortly we're going to do our first sight reading challenge.
Yeah, we'll give just another few seconds here. And then Carol will lead you through sight reading. So what's going to happen, I'm going to make sure everyone's muted. I'm going to bring up a sight reading challenge on the screen. I'll give you about 30 seconds to look it over. And then when the time is up, Carol will actually lead through this sight reading. So first, I am going to mute everyone because, like I said, with the similar to the warm-up session, we have to make sure we're all muted, except for Carol. Okay. Let me make sure Carol is able to unmute. Okay, there she goes. So she should be ready with that. I am going to share the screen and give you 30 seconds to look at this sight reading challenge. You might have to collapse the window with everybody's pictures in order to see it all. So I'll give you 30 seconds starting now to just look it over. Okay, time is up. I am going to mute myself and let Carol take over.
Okay, everyone, I have my metronome in hand, and I'm going to pulse eighth notes for you, okay? This is going to be our tempo. That's really the only hint I'm going to give you right now, okay? And I'm going to count to 6. I'll give you one measure for free. That's a little bit of a hint already, sorry. And then we'll start, okay? Here's our tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How
Nicely
did
done.
everybody do?
Feel free to post in the chat. You can also ask to unmute if a couple people want to jump in and share how you did. We got a fine.
Love the piece. Did you feel that this was pretty easy for you, folks? Thumbs up.
The low notes and the accidentals.
Yes. I do feel like there's a fair number of sight reading that comes up on competitions and things like that that is in 6/8. So I chose to sight read it by subdividing into eighth notes. Lori, why don't you say what our other option could have been for this in terms of how we might count this?
Yes, you could also do it in 2 bigger beats of 3. So you could have thought of it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's a couple options, especially in that range of tempo, where you really could do it in either way.
Right. You could learn it, subdivide it, if you will, and then transfer that once you know the rhythm to counting it in 2. All right.
And I
So,
noticed someone mentioned working on a piece in 6/8. And no, you did not kind of cheat with that. It's just part of being prepared to be able to sight read, and it is something we will cover. And I do agree with the person who commented, beautiful playing.
oh, thank you. Thank you. Do we want to take some commentary, Lori, or do you want to go straight on to introducing stars?
Let's go straight on for now, because I realized we got started a little bit late. So let's,
Okay.
yeah.
Great.
So STARS is a handy mnemonic or acronym that can help you just focus on what you need to pay attention to in music instead of just seeing a page of music and realizing, oh, I have to look at everything. Well, there are ways that you can kind of triage some of that. So S for signatures, key signatures. So what are your sharps or flats? Your time signature, in this case, we had 6/8. But is it common time? Is it cut time? Does it go veer off into other more unusual things like 5/4 or even 7/8 or something? So, be aware. And with the time signature, as you saw with the 6/8, are you counting it in 6 or are you counting it in 2? So various things to be aware of before you even start playing. T for tempo markings. In this case, what we played was more of an andante, which goes to, knowing Italian, uh, your Italian terms, because they're the most common in music. And it's okay if some of the things you don't know. There's some things I still have to look up after all these years. But having a basic idea of allegro versus andante and getting an idea, because not all music will give you a specific tempo, quarter note equals such and such. So your A for accidentals and articulation. These are things that come up during the piece. So your signatures and your tempo markings, at least an initial of each of those gets set at the beginning. Well, your accidentals, they kind of show up as you go along, and your articulations. So being able to scan ahead, take a moment to see, oh, there's going to be some accidentals coming up, especially in a minor key like we just played. You're going to find accidentals a lot in there. Your articulation, do you have staccatos, slurs, all that fun stuff that add musicality? R for rhythm, which I did notice is a big one in the what's your biggest challenge. And I do think that challenges a lot of people, especially with sight reading. It's easy to focus on the notes and just start playing everything at the same rhythm. So the more you can get familiar and comfortable with rhythm, that will help you with your sight reading.
Also, can I just say I have the stats on that. Out of everyone who answered, as Lori had mentioned, rhythm seems to be the biggest sight reading challenge.
Mhm.
So I kind of view rhythm a little bit like a math problem. What are your knowns? What are your unknowns? And how can we figure this out?
Mhm.
Not just, oh gosh, I don't know how to do this, but sort of taking a more analytical approach to this aspect of music is really, I think, very important.
And that is a great insight on rhythm, that yes, that's an excellent way to look at it. And so then your final S are all the other signs and symbols. This is your repeat signs, your DCL coda, your first or second time only on a repeat. Now we don't see this as much as clarinet players, but there could be some octave higher or lower things, especially in some old marches. I know other instruments have to deal with that a lot more than we do, but it could show up. And really any of your other retardando, all of these different signs and symbols. So that really is kind of the catch-all afterwards for everything.
Right, and if your band conductor or your community group will talk about the road map of a piece. Where do you go? When do you go where? All those sorts of things are important to know.
Mhm. Well, shall we try the next one? Now
Sure.
that you've had a chance to go through this formula, and so during the 30 seconds for this next sight reading exercise, which is going to be a different piece than the first one we did, take a moment and maybe think through the stars and see if that helps you focus on what to look for as you sight read. So once again, same rules as before. I'll bring up the piece, give you 30 seconds, and then I'll turn it over to Carol. Okay, 30 seconds starting now. Okay, time's up. Take it away, Carol.
All right. I have put a tempo marking on this particular little snippet at 120, although it's marked scherzando. And the reason I did that is just to make it a little bit more readable for all of us the first time. Okay, so you're going to play with me. I'll give you one measure of 4, and then we'll come in on the second measure. And this is going to be our tempo. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. How did everybody do? You can type it in the chat. Maybe we can take 2 or 3 live people for this one. Lori,
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think so. I think so. So you should be able to request unmute if you would like. Oh, someone said terrible.
She
Someone
was
forgot to mute class.
I think we're getting, bass clarinet. Yeah, I
Oh,
think we're getting some
excellent.
interesting comments. There's one person said they forgot a flat, was probably the E flat. And let me tell you that the goal is not to get, well, obviously the goal is to do the best you can, but the goal is not to make the same mistake twice. So when you make a mistake, mark it, put a little flat in there, do what you need to do so that the next time around when you play it, you'll play it equally as well or better.
Sorry, Mel, I am trying to find you to be able to unmute you. Sorry, Mel, I missed you. I think there's a, I was trying to find a way to unmute you and I was not able to do it. So hopefully we will be able to get that. Let's see.
Somebody wants to play it again a second time?
Oh, peek at it again for a second. Yeah, I can do that. Let me bring that one back up.
Okay, so the first, you may get the first E flat in measure 2, and maybe by the time you get to measure 3, you might miss it, or you might miss it further along. Those are all really common mistakes, that one has sort of a heightened awareness at the beginning, and then maybe your mind drifts. Or it happens to me that I'll read something much better the first time because I'm hyper aware, and the second time I might miss a few more things.
Yeah.
And somebody just posted about dynamics. Yeah,
And yes, I would say that's part of the signs and symbols. Yes, thank you for for catching that. And Mel, I was able
What
to
I
mute you.
thank you. What really tripped me up was the staccatos in particular, and the slurs going at tempo and trying to stay with. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the woman who was playing, but
Mhm.
I couldn't put all that together. And then you miss something, so you skip and try and get ahead. I couldn't do it, but
Mhm.
I find the main thing is at tempo is the articulations were really tough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something that you can practice in other ways, in worksheets and books on articulation and exercises, and anything that you do in another way during your practicing will carry through now into your performance life, right? Into your band life. And the music is going like a train. So this is very much like being in a band rehearsal, right? And it on in our handouts we talk about things that you can do when you're playing in an ensemble, how to find your place if you've lost your place, listen for key changes, look at your conductor, ask for a cue, watch for downbeats, changes in meter, for example. These are all little things that no one expects you to know, but you can learn and you can practice. So, Lori, do we have those two handouts in the chat for people to look
Yes,
at?
and I just put it in there one more time because I guess if so I just uploaded it to the chat one more time. Oh, but I will also at the end I'll show our email addresses if you want to just email us. Oh, and yes, William, sometimes sing through it the first time to get the rhythm. Yes, that is one of our tips in the handout. If you can't say it, you can't play it. I'm a big fan of singing or tying the rhythm because that way you don't have to worry about what the actual notes are. You're not worried about fingerings and that kind of stuff. You are only focused on the rhythm. And the more you get used to various rhythms that happen, like in this example with the dotted 8th, 16th pattern, you can transfer that knowledge to other pieces because a dotted 8th, 16th is a dotted 8th, 16th. So if you know how that feels and how that works, you're more likely to be able to just play it the next time you see it. Just like presumably pretty much quarter notes at this point for everybody. It's like, oh, well, I know how to play a quarter note. The same thing can happen with these other rhythms too. You just get used to how they work.
Right, right. Do we have any questions from the group related to what we've done today? Looks like we're close to time.
Close. We technically have enough time. If there aren't a bunch of questions, if people want, we could do the first exercise again. If people want another chance at that one.
I kind of feel like the second one was the one that people found more challenging.
Yeah, does anyone have a vote on which one they found more challenging? Or if you want to try the other one again, or other questions, feel free. Yes, do the second one, do the both. The second one was more challenging. Okay, I am overwhelmingly seeing the second one.
Okay, all right. Maybe what I'll do this time around is slow down the tempo because I did get some responses that it was just a little too fast.
Okay,
So I'm going to pulse my metronome at 100. Get your clarinets ready. And I'll just let you listen to this beat. So try to internalize that beat. I'll give you one measure for free. We'll come in on the second measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Better this time? Show us some thumbs up if you felt it was better the second time around at a slower tempo. Yes? Good. That's really great.
good.
Oh, somebody said worse. Do
Oh,
we
no.
want to try it again?
I think we technically have enough time.
I'm just reading some of the commentary in the chat here to see how we can best meet the needs of our group.
Mhm.
Debbie's second time is better. One more time, much better. Yeah, that's fine. Processing it a couple of times. Why don't we give people 30 seconds to look at it
Okay,
and then try it again based on the stars.
okay, here's 30 seconds starting now.
I'm going to pulse in my metronome already, Lori.
Okay,
Okay, here's our tempo, folks.
okay, and that's 30 seconds. So,
I'll actually give you 2 measures for free this time, just to give you a little bit more prep time, okay? So 2 measures for free. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready, go. Better? Yes, I
the
think
third
that's a
time's a
great
charm.
I think that's a great way to wrap up the session with them.
Yes. Thank you everyone for joining us and participating. The plan is all the sessions are being recorded and will end up on the ICA YouTube channel. Let me do a quick screen share of our email addresses. So feel free to contact either of us and we will do what we can. Thank you all for everyone's kind words in the chat. We had fun with you and hope that this helps you start on a successful sight reading journey.
Be a star. It's sight
Yeah.
reading. You can do it. Bye, everyone.
Bye.